Homophobic sister keeps trying to break my boyfriend and I up to get some fruity schlong. I, male, and my boyfriend have been dating for 6 years and are living together. My sister and I's relationship wasn't the best when we were younger, mostly because our parents treated her like the golden child because they always wanted a girl, which already made me distant with them all a bit because of that reason alone. As we got older, my sister did act more like a mature person, but didn't fully grow out of her golden child act. My sister moved in 2 months ago because her boyfriend broke up with her and kicked her out, though she refuses to tell me or anyone in our family the reason why they broke up. Since they seemed like a good couple, it was a little surprising. In the first 2 weeks things went fine. She was decent, helped around and didn't involve herself too much in me and my boyfriend's life or anything. But she seemed to be trying to get closer to my boyfriend as time went by. She kept trying to hug him, touch his arm/back, ask him to help zip up her dress when she goes out, which he obviously says no to, and would often interrupt me talking with him to put herself in the conversation. Of course, my boyfriend didn't like any of it, and whenever she did anything that made him uncomfortable he'd tell me, and I've told her many times to stop and how she makes him uncomfortable. She would often say that she didn't mean to, how she just wanted a closer look at his tattoos on his arms and a bunch of other excuses. A week ago, my boyfriend came to me and told me how my sister said that I've been cheating on him, and he showed me his phone with messages of a bunch of crap my sister texted him and how I was in a club or something with another guy. He didn't really believe her since I'm very introverted and never even went to a club or bar my entire life, and he knows that. So me flirting with some other dude out is just a very dumb lie to come up with. So I waited for her to come back, and when she did I told her that we needed to talk. When I asked her why she would lie about me cheating, she immediately got defensive and started yelling at me, saying how I'm no good for my boyfriend, that I'm ruining her time here in my house, how she's going through a tough time with her own breakup, etc. My boyfriend did jump in and told her to shut up and to not shout. My sister suddenly started crying her eyes out like a child and started throwing a tantrum saying it should be me. You're supposed to be with me, not that F-slur, I am better than him, why can't you two just break up already, and a bunch of other hurtful things towards me. My boyfriend didn't even give her time to finish her tantrum before he yelled at her to grab her stuff and leave. She didn't listen to him and instead laid on the floor and continued yelling and crying. My boyfriend went towards where my sister's room was and packed her stuff in trash bags before throwing them all out while I was trying to get my sister off the floor. My sister shouted at him to stop and got up from the floor to go and try to get her stuff back inside. I got fed up with her and shoved her out while my boyfriend was throwing her stuff out. My sister did try to punch me while I shoved her, but it didn't hit me, and she kept shouting at me how I'm disgusting, ruining her life, and a bunch of F-slurs on the way. She did finally leave us alone after my boyfriend said he'd call the cops if she said another word to me. Now my phone keeps blowing up with calls and messages from my family and my sister's friends saying how I'm a terrible person and that I shouldn't have kicked her out because she's going through a breakup and didn't know what she was doing or whatever. My parents tried coming to my house today to try and talk to me to get my sister to live with me and my boyfriend again, but since my boyfriend already hates their guts, they got kicked out within a minute before they could even try to justify my sister's actions. I don't think I did anything bad, but the amount of backlash and angry messages I'm getting is messing me up, so I'm gonna need some advice on how to continue from here because I'm starting to doubt my decision. Turns out a few of you guys were right and she gave most of the family a made-up story. She told the rest of the family, except my parents since they knew the real story from the start, and her friends, that when she moved in I was a complete jerk. I made her do all the chores, cook every day, yelled at her all the time and tried to make her feel insecure about herself, but she didn't because she was a girl. She also said how my boyfriend was not happy in his relationship with me and basically made me look like some demon who came out from Satan's booty hole. I was able to slap some sense into a few of the more open-minded people with the help of my boyfriend to give them the real story. Most of them didn't even apologize and just stopped bothering me. I was able to get in contact with one of my sister's friends to ask about my sister's reason for the whole breakup thing. Turns out the reason my sister and her ex broke up was because she was supposed to take care of her ex's dog but instead sold the dog because she didn't want to take care of it while he was away. She wasn't even sad that they broke up, she was upset because she wasn't allowed to keep the house and all the stuff inside that wasn't even hers. I don't know why she even thought that she'd be allowed to keep it after selling the guy's dog. The texts from my family did calm down from a few, but my parents and sister continue spamming me with trash talk. It got to a point that the day after I made the first post, I got a threat letter from my sister, saying how I must break up with my boyfriend or else she'll destroy my reputation and everything I have, and also decided to be petty and write how she'll stab me. Unfortunately for her, when the letter came in I was out grocery shopping, but my boyfriend was home with his family who was over for dinner, and angering a family of 2 parents who have 9 kids, 5 adults and 4 teenagers, is not a pretty sight as my boyfriend described it. My boyfriend's mother called my mother and started asking about the letter my sister sent. My mother denied it and said that my sister didn't do anything of that sort. My boyfriend's mother wanted to say more, but my mother hung up on her. After we cooked and had dinner, my boyfriend's father suggested that they'd stay over in case my parents or sister tried to disturb us again. My boyfriend and I agreed to this and we set up a few spare rooms for them since we do have a pretty big house. I did call the police for the threat letter and they said they'd look into it. After that we simply went to bed. The next day we did hear loud banging on the front door, with my sister screaming to be let in. One of my boyfriend's brothers opened the door and my mom and dad walked right in and demanded of me to talk to them alone, but my boyfriend's parents cut them off and tried telling them that my sister is out of line and they needed to respect that they crossed many boundaries. Both my parents and my boyfriend's parents then got into a heated argument. And what did my sister do? She tried to get closer to my boyfriend while the argument was occurring. My boyfriend then started shouting at her, calling her a psychopath and that she's annoying. My parents then started yelling at my boyfriend that it's no big deal and that's just how girls act around their crush. I did get fed up and told my parents and sister that they needed to leave before I called the police. They refused and my mom seriously said, you should be a good brother and make your sister happy. Let her go on one date with your boyfriend and we'll leave. How else will they know if they click or not? You're basically ruining your sister's love life by being so selfish. My boyfriend. And his siblings all immediately shut her up and tore her up for saying such stuff. My sister then started crying and tried to go to my boyfriend for a hug. One of my boyfriend's sisters slapped her and said how she should be ashamed of herself for trying to get to a gay-taken man. My sister seemed to have lost it and tried to lunge at me while screaming how much she hates me. She shoved me onto the ground and grabbed a weapon from her pocket and stabbed me. It was obvious she tried to go for my throat but instead went to my shoulder. My boyfriend yanked her off me and he and his siblings started to gang up on her. My boyfriend's mother helped me up and treated the stab wound with whatever we had as it was bleeding quite a lot and pretty deep and she's a nurse. My boyfriend's father called the police. My parents tried to take my sister and leave, but my boyfriend and his siblings kept them in place until the police arrived. Once the police got there, my parents and sister got arrested and I got sent to the hospital because the bleeding wouldn't stop. I got a few stitches on my shoulder now and it's a bit difficult to move with my left arm. When my sister got questioned by the police, her smartass kept shouting threats and that she meant to slice my throat, not my shoulder. What the F? For some reason she also kept crying out my boyfriend's name, as if he's gonna defend her or help her. My sister got sent to jail and my parents got a restraining order. But due to their actions, my little brother, 8, got taken out of their house and put into my care. 3 of my boyfriend's siblings are currently staying over, because they think my parents might come back and try to take my little brother away or hurt me. For 2 days it has been peaceful. Maybe some other family members will come by or my sister's friends will try something, but right now I'm safe. My boyfriend, his sister and my little brother are currently hanging out playing some video games. He's planning on taking my brother to a zoo since my little brother loves animals and never went to one. I'll update if anything else happens.